I want you here with me tonight. I'm just too young, I don't wanna die.
I'm gonna go ahead and get the pterodactyl head glued back on and get it out of the way so we can make some space for the Plymouth and get the Plymouth out of the carport and into the shop. I'm mixing this batch up hot because I want it to dry quick. That's a heavy door. Let's try to move this thing. Ugh. Oh my gosh, it's amazing here. I've got a bunch of other little stuff kind of going on that I gotta stay on top of. I don't want to get too far behind. And One of them is this little Toyota here. The guy had done some body work himself. Let's get down here. And it wasn't too bad, but I had to hammer and dolly it flat and refill it for him. So I'm going to do this, block it out. Might try to get some primer on it before I leave. That's probably good. Now I'm going to have to drag the air hose back over here and blow this thing off. Dang it. All right, let's do that real quick then. Extra light back here to hopefully keep the scan lines out. I see a few scan lines, but hopefully it helps a little bit. Actually, I should go back and check before I get too far with this. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some dolphin glaze. Glaze this, and then we'll clean out the 58 Plymouth. Like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm kind of behind on right now that I want to get done. So I think what we'll do is we'll clean the Plymouth and make a list of things that need done. Basically, all I'm doing right now is I'm filling the pinholes from the filler. The filler leaves a lot of little, like, microscopic pinholes. Just because, I guess there's more air in it. I don't know really how it works. I'm not an expert. But I could claim to be. Okay, this is 100% exactly how you do it, and if you don't do it this way, you're wrong. I think that's better, right? All right. Again, I'm just smushing this into these little pinholes. This is such a tiny glaze. I'm pushing really hard too because I want to push this filler into the pinholes. Otherwise it'll just kind of ride over top of them and it won't fill them at all. But the body work is straight. This isn't building on top of the filler really. This is just skimming it to, this would burn your edges together, your transition edges. Because, you know, body filler and paint and different body fillers sand at different rates. So this would kind of bridge any edges. And again, fill the pinholes. That's all we want to do here. Fill the pinholes. This stuff is very runny. And I think that's probably going to do it. And it dries pretty quick too, so we won't be waiting around all day to get over here to sand this for primer. Yeah, I think all the pinholes are filled. I don't see anything popping out and saying hello. So I think we can call this done. I'll go clean off this spreader so I can save it. If I have a rag anywhere. I should. I'll be back. It completely lost me. Hey, it held in there, didn't it? It tried its best. Well, I'm seeing scan lines. That's a bad sign. I didn't see them at first. Now I see them. I'll get this right. So I think an important task right now, is to clean this thing out a little bit. Because it's just piled with random things that I've thrown to this side of the car as I've been working on it. Obviously, I'm not going to get a ton of work done today on the car. But I think something that's important to do, besides cleaning this thing out, is to go ahead and make a list. My original goal was to have this thing tagged and registered and driving by the end of February. Well, today's the last day of February, and it did not happen. I guess the thing that held me back the most is I need a lot of the more expensive items now. You know, I need to get a carburetor, a distributor, tires. It's down to really spending money. You know, alignment. It might need ball joints. I got to route the filler neck. Filler neck hose is pretty expensive. The rubber hose to adapt filler necks together or tie them together is pretty expensive. So that's kind of what slowed me down. And then this week was kind of weird. I had a lot of stuff that I ended up having to do. So my whole Friday that I usually spend on the Plymouth, I spent some of my Friday working on other stuff that I can't do during the week because I got to body work on that Buick. Which that Buick, I got body work started on that. That'll be a fresh video on that next week. The stuff that I've done over the past few days on that will be a video next week. I probably should have got a trash can. I'm just going to take everything out. Throw the trash in one pile, the important stuff in another pile, and the tools in a separate pile. The ratchet strap. We've made really good progress on this car. This car is very close to being something. You know, it's very, very close to being a drivable car. Just a couple more bits, couple more expensive things to do. Which is always the case, I guess. Money ties up a lot of projects. Not complaining. I'm just saying. I'll start getting those bits and bobs in the coming weeks. But I really need to go ahead and, like I said, make a list and get started on some of the other stuff that's important, like tying the rest of this sheet metal together. I got to build inner fender wells and all that stuff. That's going to take some time. I need a brake light switch. Just a bunch of little stuff. I'll finish the wiring too probably next week. I knew that the wiring was going to take all day, and wrapping up that pterodactyl and that little Toyota, stuff like that. I knew that was going to chew up some time, and I wouldn't have time to drag out a bunch of wiring and get a bunch of wiring started. And if I couldn't finish it, if I had to take the car back out and put it in storage, I'd have wires hanging everywhere. That just wouldn't be the best situation. But this is important too. This thing needs cleaned out. Because when we come in here and start welding, we want a nice clean area to work in. Plus I'm going to need to lay a blanket down so I could start getting the radio and stuff, stick my head up underneath the dash, get the radio in place. Which again is also important. Which we're going to do that too probably very soon. That's something I could shoot at home, is converting the radio to Bluetooth. something that I'll show you guys how to do for cheap, because everything I do is cheap. This is a budget build. This is a, I'm a budget guy when it comes to my own stuff for sure. I'm not spending a ton of money on anything if I can avoid it. All right, I don't have any like paper and pens, and all my Sharpies go home in my pocket with me, so writing this on a Sharpie, or writing this with a Sharpie on a piece of cardboard probably is not going to happen. So let's go ahead and write our list. We know we need tires. Matching wheels would be cool too, but you don't really need those. They just look nicer. We got to finish the wiring. What else do we need? We need to bolt the seats down properly. And I guess we definitely finished the fuel tank. Transmission cooler. We need to hook that up. Gauges. But that's all. That's wiring. We finish all the wiring. Oh, we need our rear trailing arms. Definitely need that. Finish the brakes, because I've never adjusted or bled them. I think I need new rotors for the front. We need to finish gutting this interior. Gut interior. We don't need to really finish the dash and the radio to drive this thing. We need some sound deadening for sure. Sound deadener. So we need to order tires, trailing arms, and sound deadener. We're going to need exhaust. Well, I have some exhaust. We need to weld that back on, though. I haven't welded that back on, so I need to weld that back on. Oh, boy. We need a charging system, because that alternator is not working. So I'll have to order that. Is this fun, just sitting here making a list? Well, this is what it is. Honestly, this is what it's about. We are going to need a windshield eventually, because you can't drive in Virginia with a cracked windshield, especially if it's cracked in the view of the driver. I can get away with it for a couple trips if I rock antique tags, but I don't want to push it too much. I'd rather have a nice windshield. I hate having busted up glass. So we'll get that taken care of too. That's actually, might as well write that down, right? That's money. So tires we could probably do for $400. The rear trailing arms are about $400 as well. Sound deadener probably $150. Charging system $80. Oh, I need a carb. Yeah, I need a carb still too. Windshield, I think it's going to be like, we'll just guess $700 if we can find one. And then what did I say? What did I say I needed? I literally forgot already. Oh, yeah. Charging system, windshield, trailing arms. I already forgot. That's bad. I'll have to like watch the footage back and try to remember what I forgot. All right, tires, trailing arms, sound deadener, charging system, windshield. That's all I can think of right now that we're going to need to order. So we're like at 8, 16, probably 17, 18, we'll say $2,000. We'll probably need $2,000 worth of stuff just to get this car where we can drive it on the road. So that's how much I need to make, because an extra $2,000 is tough when you're self-employed, you know. So but we'll do it a little at a time. That's the thing. We could do it a little at a time. It's not a huge deal. But here's our list. Here's our list. I don't know if the camera will focus on the list, but that's my list. So that's my goal. I'm going to start crossing things off, and when I go back and watch the footage and see what I forgot that I remembered that I forgot, I'll add that to the list. But I think we can take this thing back outside and wreak a little havoc before it gets dark out. Because I want to block out that Toyota, that spot on that Toyota, and maybe hit it with a little bit of primer before I go home. And it's already getting late. So unfortunately, this was not a very successful video, was it? Not a very productive video anyway. But sometimes it's just like that. You know, making plans and figuring out what you need to do it gives you a good idea for what's to come in the future. You know, and so when you're sitting at home and you're not working on the car, you can go through and you can start to itemize this stuff and price this stuff out and find good deals and good stuff that works well. So this was not a loss. This was not a bummer of a day because, again, I've got a clean working space now. So I can get in here and finish up this little bit of metalwork tying these two cars together. I can lay down in here and get the radio up in there. I got to get me a dash speaker. I might get some speakers for the package tray too. I was just going to run one speaker like factory, but if I'm putting a radio in it, I might as well put a couple in the back. I don't need a thumping sound system, but I'd like to have some clear music. So we'll do that. Actually, I'll show you the same stereo I'm using in this I used in my 50 Buick. So we'll go take a look at that, and I'll show you how simple it is. But let's get this thing outside. Let's make a ruckus, and then I'll wrap up that Toyota stuff, and we'll shout out our channel members. Do you guys think that Pontiac rear will burn both tires? You probably can't hear me now, but I'm curious if that Pontiac rear, it's in the red. The microphone's in the red. Let's try it. We're going to turn this thing right again, though. I can assure you. All right, let's go. right. Smoke's still clearing out. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity to thank our channel members. Hopefully you guys can hear me over the rattle of that beast. We have got Sawdust and Cigarettes, Bluegrass Rust and Revamp, Foobar Model Yard, Hell's Dam, George Faber, Joe Francis, Mark Murphy, Raymond D, and Gen X Rising. He actually became a member during my live the other day, and I didn't have a Sharpie, so we carved his name in the door. Let me put this thing back up in the hidey hole, and we will wrap up the rest of this video. That's all right, I gotta check the transmission fluid still. Hopefully we didn't hurt our little transmission. It seems pretty responsive, so I'm sure it's fine. I don't have much for brakes. I really got to go through these brakes. I don't know if you guys can hear me at all. There we go. Sorry if that was really loud. I was just saying that we got to go through the brakes and stuff still because I didn't have much brakes at all. Oh, now I got to get out of this thing. Oh, I'll get out the way I got in. It's a Mopar, but it ain't no Duke Mobile, is it? Maybe I just get out that side. I just don't want to rip my shirt. All right, I'm getting out this other door. Oh my goodness. Oof. I got to disconnect the battery. I don't want to leave it connected over the weekend. Holy guacamole. We did pretty good though, I think. So maybe this wasn't the most eventful video. The rat is in the video. See if you can spot the rat. He is in the video. I want to thank Mr. Monster. I reached out to the Facebook page and they gave me permission to use the music, even though the lead singer, like I said, Jason Trioxin, passed away, I think in 2017. Whoever's running the page gave me permission to use the song in the intro, and I'll show you the radio, the stereo system in the 50 Buick that we're gonna put in the Plymouth. So the song will be there as well. I thanked my channel members, everybody who leaves a tip, everybody who watched the live. I'm gonna try to start going live Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're free on those days, you know, jump in, do a super chat, whatever. We'll get this project moving. And then I think I'm gonna start doing some lives on the weekends too, but I wanna figure out how to do like the double screen thing. So maybe we can play an old car game, video game while we chat and hang out. So yeah, that's plans for the future. Sorry that we didn't get a whole bunch done to the car, but we got some decent driving footage of it, so that's always fun. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time. Again, stay tuned. I'll show you the stereo in the 50 Buick real quick, and we're wrapping this thing up. Take care. It got dark out, but this is the Bluetooth system I have in the car, in the 50 Buick. It works pretty good. You probably can't tell. But this version of the song is kind of pitch crushed, actually. Let's try something else. Oh, this will work.